The night the drums of Umuoma village fell silent, something unholy was born. They said a baby girl had been found by the river, beautiful, silent, and wrapped in a strange golden cloth that shimmered like scales under the moonlight. No one knew where she came from, but the old women whispered, "Children found by the river never come empty." Years passed, and the mysterious child grew into a woman named Nnenna, the most beautiful maiden Umuoma had ever seen. Her skin glowed like fresh palm oil, her eyes sparkled like morning dew, and when she smiled, even the sun seemed to pause. Men traveled from far villages to seek her hand, but Nnenna refused them all. She said she would only marry the man whose heart was as pure as river water. Then came Obieze, the hunter, brave, kind, and handsome. He saved Nnenna's little brother from drowning one evening, and that was how their love began. Soon after, the entire village danced to the sound of ogene as Nnenna became Obieze's wife. But from that night on, strange things began to happen. Each morning, Obieze would wake to find his wife missing from bed, and water dripping across the floor, leading out the door into the forest path. He followed her once, silently, and what he saw nearly made his soul leave his body. Down by the river, under the full moon, Nnenna stood, naked, her skin peeling, glistening, and twisting until it turned into golden scales. Her eyes burned like fire as she slid into the water, half woman, half serpent. Obieze's heart pounded. He couldn't scream. He couldn't move. He just watched his beloved wife shed her human skin and slither deep into the river's heart. When morning came, she returned, smiling sweetly, pretending nothing happened. But that night, Obieze couldn't touch her. He couldn't sleep beside her. The image of what he saw haunted him. Until one day, an old river priest came to his hut and said, "You married beauty from the river, my son, but beauty from the river always comes with a price." Obieze trembled. "What do you mean, father?" The priest looked at him with sorrow. "She's not just from the river. She belongs to it. And if she ever falls truly in love with a man of the earth, she must choose you or her world beneath the waters." That night, Obieze decided to confront her. But before he could speak, Nnenna turned to him with tears in her eyes and whispered, "Obieze, there's something you must never ask me, for if you do, you may never see the sunrise." That night, as the moonlight bathed Umuoma village in silver, Obieze couldn't sleep. His heart raced like a war drum. His wife's warning echoed in his ears. "There's something you must never ask me, for if you do, you may never see the sunrise again." But how could a man live with a woman he no longer understood? When morning came, Nnenna was in the kitchen, humming softly as she pounded yam. Her voice floated through the air like music, calm and sweet. But Obieze saw something no one else could: the faint shimmer of golden scales beneath her arm whenever the sunlight touched her skin. He forced a smile and sat quietly, pretending to eat. Yet deep down, fear was already eating him. 3 nights later, when the wind howled and the river roared louder than usual, Nnenna woke suddenly. Her eyes turned pale and glassy. She rose from bed and began walking toward the door. Obieze followed her. Again. Through the dark forest they went until they reached the riverbank. The moonlight painted the water in gold. Nnenna stood at the edge and began to sing in a language Obieze had never heard. The river answered back. The water rippled, forming the shape of a giant serpent's head. Nnenna's feet turned to scales once more. Her legs twisted into a tail. Then a voice came from the river. "Daughter of the deep, your time on land is fading. You cannot love a man of dust. Return home before it is too late." Obieze gasped, and the serpent turned its glowing eyes toward him. The voice hissed, "You should not be here, mortal." Nnenna turned, panic on her face. "Obieze, please, go back." But Obieze's fear had turned to anger. "Tell me the truth, Nnenna. Who are you? What are you?" The river fell silent. Even the crickets stopped singing. Then Nnenna sighed. "I was born of the river goddess. My mother was human once, but she fell in love with the Serpent King. I am their child, half woman, half snake. When I was born, the goddess sent me to live among humans, to learn love. But now, my time is ending." Tears streamed down her glowing face. "I wanted to stay with you, Obieze. I wanted to live as a woman. But love has awoken the part of me I was meant to forget." The river's waves grew wilder. The serpent hissed again. "Return now or be destroyed." Nnenna looked at Obieze one last time. "Forgive me, my love." She raised her hands, and a burst of water surrounded her. When it cleared, she was gone. Only her wrapper remained on the sand, soaked and shining with golden scales. Obieze fell to his knees, shouting her name into the night. But the only answer was the whisper of the river and the faint sound of hissing beneath the waves. For 7 days, the river of Umuoma refused to rest. It roared like a wounded beast, swelling beyond its banks, swallowing farms and dragging goats and firewood into its raging mouth. Everyone said the gods were angry, but only Obieze knew why. He had lost his wife, his river bride, to the depths. Yet every night, when the wind carried the sound of hissing through his window, he knew she was still calling him. On the 8th night, Obieze went to the riverbank with nothing but a calabash, a burning torch, and his trembling faith. The moon was hidden behind clouds, and the world smelled of rain and mystery. He called out softly, "Nnenna, if you can hear me, I'm not afraid anymore. Take me where you are." At first, there was silence. Then the water before him began to shimmer with golden ripples. A voice like a whisper of thunder rose from the deep. "You dare cross into the world of spirits for love?" The river opened, forming a swirling tunnel of light. Without thinking, Obieze stepped in. The water swallowed him whole. He expected death, but instead he found himself standing beneath the river in a world of glowing corals, silver trees, and creatures that shimmered like moonlight. Fish with human eyes glided by, whispering secrets. And there, sitting on a throne made of shells and bones, was the Serpent King himself, massive, coiled, crowned with emeralds. Beside him knelt Nnenna, dressed in flowing garments that glowed like sunlight underwater. When she saw Obieze, her eyes widened with both joy and fear. "You shouldn't have come," she whispered. "This is not your world." But Obieze bowed before the Serpent King. "I came from my wife. I will not leave without her." The great serpent laughed, a deep rumble that shook the entire riverbed. "Your wife? You married what you did not understand, mortal. She is of my blood. You are of dust. You cannot bind water with sand. Nnenna's tears floated as pearls in the water. Father, please, let him stay, or let me go with him. The serpent's eyes flared. If you go, you will never again be river nor woman. You will die when the sun rises. Obieze stepped forward. Then we'll die together. The Serpent King stared at him for a long, silent moment. Then he said, Very well. If your love is stronger than death, prove it. Face the 3 trials of the deep. Survive them, and she will be yours forever, either in your world or mine.
First trial, the pit of whispers. 1,000 spirits circled him, taking the shape of loved ones and enemies, whispering lies into his ears. She deceived you, they hissed. She will betray you again. Obieze closed his eyes and whispered back, Love does not need to understand. It only needs to stay. The spirits vanished. Second trial, the heart of fire. He was thrown into boiling water. Flames burned his skin. But when he remembered Nnenna's laughter, her eyes, her gentleness, his pain turned into strength. He rose from the water unburned. Third trial, the choice. 2 paths appeared before him. One led back to the land where he could live again but forget Nnenna forever. The other led deeper, to eternal darkness, where he could stay with her but lose his human soul. Obieze chose the darkness, and in that moment the river exploded with light. The Serpent King smiled, a sad, knowing smile. Then you are truly one of us. He turned to Nnenna. Daughter, he has earned his place, but remember, no love comes without sacrifice. The Serpent King touched Obieze's chest, and scales bloomed across his skin, shimmering gold. His eyes turned bright and wild. He reached for Nnenna's hand, and she smiled through her tears. They both rose together, their bodies glowing, 2 spirits bound by love, neither human nor serpent, but something the world had never seen before. When dawn came, the river returned to peace. The villagers found Obieze's torch, floating on the water, still burning. No one ever saw them again. But sometimes, when the moonlight touches the river just right, 2 golden shapes can be seen dancing beneath the surface, moving together, whispering laughter that sounds almost human. 20 years passed after the night Obieze vanished into the river. Umuoma village forgot his name, but the river did not. Each rainy season, the waters would swell higher than any other river in the land, glimmering faintly with golden light. Old women would warn the children, "Never fetch water under the moonlight, for that is when the river bride walks." But one night, when lightning tore through the sky and thunder rolled like the drums of the gods, a scream rose from the riverside. A child had been found, glowing, crying, and wrapped in a wet golden cloth. They named her Nnenna, meaning "remember me." No one knew who her parents were, but everyone who saw her swore her eyes looked like someone they had forgotten how to name. Deep, soft, and golden like morning sun on the river's face. From childhood, Nnenna was different. The fish followed her whenever she came to fetch water. The river never dirtied her clothes. When other children drowned, the current carried their bodies away. But once when Nnenna slipped and fell into the deep, she emerged hours later, unharmed, smiling, and holding a strange golden scale in her tiny palm. Her grandmother, the only one who cared for her, whispered, "Child, You are marked by the water. You must never let anyone cut your hair or draw your blood. The river spirits guard you." But as Muna grew, so did the whispers. People said she was a child of the Serpent. When she turned 17, strange things began happening again. Rain refused to fall. The river dried halfway, leaving the fish gasping. The chief priests said the gods were angry and that the daughter of the water had stayed too long among mortals. One evening, as the villagers prepared sacrifices to appease the gods, Muna sat quietly by the riverbank. The moon reflected perfectly on the still water until it began to move. A ripple, then another, and then a familiar voice whispered from the water, "My daughter, the time has come." Muna froze. "Who are you?" The water swirled and two golden shapes emerged, one with the grace of a woman, the other tall, strong, and eyes like burning amber. It was Nnenna and Obieze, radiant, half human, half water, their forms dancing like smoke and light. Nnenna reached out. "You are the bridge between our worlds, Muna. The river chose you. You are what we left behind." Muna's heart pounded. "Left behind? You're my parents?" Obieze nodded slowly. "We gave up our mortal lives for love, but love cannot die. It only changes its form. The river gave you to the land so that our story would live again." Tears filled Muna's eyes as her feet began to sink into the sand, which now pulsed like living water. "Am I supposed to return with you?" Before they could answer, a sudden cry erupted from behind her. Villagers with torches shouting, "Witch! Snake child! She's the reason the river is angry!" They threw spears and stones, but before any could touch her, the river exploded upward, swallowing the moonlight, the flames, and every sound. When the water calmed, Muna was gone. Only her golden cloth floated on the surface, glowing faintly, just like the one Nnenna had been found in years ago. That night, rain returned to Umuoma. It poured for 7 days, soaking the land, filling the farms, and ending the drought. And from that day onward, whenever women went to fetch water at dawn, they would hear laughter beneath the waves, gentle, distant, and strangely familiar. They say the river no longer destroys nor dries. It breathes, it watches, it protects. And if you ever look closely under the moonlight, you might see 3 golden shapes moving gracefully beneath the water. A man, a woman, and a young maiden, their love echoing through generations, reminding the world that some hearts beat beyond flesh and bone.
Many moons had passed since the river took Muna away. The villagers of Umuoma now told her story as a warning. Never love what the river gives, for the river always comes back to take its own. But one night, long after the rains had ceased, a fisherman named Obieze cast his net into the calm water. When he pulled it up, he found something that made his heart freeze. A crying baby, wrapped in a golden cloth, just like before. The child's eyes shone faintly, like molten gold. Obieze, who had lost his wife years ago, took the baby home and raised her as his own. He named her Ijeoma, the journey that never ends. From her earliest days, strange things surrounded Ijeoma. When she laughed, rain would fall. When she cried, thunder would answer. And sometimes, when she stood near water, ripples formed even when the wind was still. The elders feared her. But Obieze said, if the river gave her, then the river knows why. Years passed,
Ijeoma grew into a quiet, mysterious young woman. She often sat by the riverside, whispering to the water, as if speaking to unseen friends. Some nights, villagers swore they saw glowing figures dancing behind her reflection. Then came the year of silence. The birds stopped singing. The crops refused to grow. The moon began to bleed red each month, and one by one, villagers fell sick, their bodies cold, and their eyes glazed with fear. The chief priest declared that the serpent bloodline had returned, and that only a great sacrifice could appease the gods. When they searched for the cause, all signs pointed to Ijeoma. But before they could seize her, she vanished. The river's call. Deep in the forest, the river glowed brighter than ever. The same golden light that once took Nnenna and Obieze now danced across the surface. Drawn by whispers in her dreams, Ijeoma walked barefoot into the water. The current parted like a living thing, and she stepped beneath, descending into a realm that pulsed with light and memory. There she saw them, 3 familiar faces watching her with sadness and pride. Nnenna, Obieze, Muna. They surrounded her like spirits of flame and water. "You have returned, Ijeoma," Nnenna said softly. "The blood of both worlds runs in you." "The balance is broken," Obieze added. "Mortals have forgotten the pact. You must remind them." "But how?" Ijeoma asked, trembling. "They fear me. They want me dead." Muna placed her hand on Ijeoma's heart. "Because they fear what they do not understand. You are not a curse, my child. You are the bridge. You must rise above the fear of men and the wrath of spirits. Unite them, or both worlds will drown." Lightning flashed beneath the water. The Serpent King appeared once again, his scales darker now, his eyes burning like suns. "The cycle must end. The child of both realms must choose. Become the river or destroy it." The water trembled. The spirits waited. Ijeoma stood still, golden tears falling from her eyes. "If I must choose, then I choose to live as both, to walk where spirits breathe and men dream, to end the curse by becoming the truth itself." Her voice grew louder, rising with the thunder. Her body shone like dawn. Scales bloomed across her arms, but her face remained human, beautiful, fierce, and unbroken. The Serpent King bowed his head. "So be it." The water exploded in light. When the villagers awoke, the river had changed. It no longer roared or flooded. Instead, it sang, softly like a mother humming to her child. Crops flourished again. Children played near the water without fear. But once in a while, when the moon falls and the moon hangs full and golden, the villagers see a woman walking on the surface of the river, half glowing, half shadow, her eyes blazing with love and power. They call her Ijeoma, the river between worlds. The curse ended not with destruction, but with understanding. And from that day, Umuoma learned. The river does not only take, sometimes it gives back what the world has lost. Long after peace returned to Umuoma, the river slept. For years, it was calm, too calm. The people believed the curse was broken. They sang praises to Ijeoma, the river between worlds, leaving calabashes of honey and yam by the riverbank every full moon. But one night, when the moon turned red again, the river began to whisper. Not to the villagers, but to itself. Because even rivers remember. And this time, what it remembered was older than love, older than man, even older than the Serpent King. A storm, unlike any before, tore across Umuoma. Lightning didn't fall from the sky. It rose from the ground, striking upward. The water boiled as if the earth itself was alive. Deep beneath the riverbed, a voice groaned, a voice that hadn't been heard in centuries. Who dares change the laws of balance? Who dares bind water and dust? The river trembled, fishes scattered, spirits fled. Even the Serpent King stirred from his throne of coral. His eyes widened as he whispered, "She has awakened."
The mother below the current. When Ijeoma appeared at the riverside that night, she felt the current pulse with anger. The surface rippled like it was breathing. She looked up and saw her reflection, but it wasn't hers. It was another woman's face, a face made of mist and darkness, crowned with waves, eyes deep as the sea. "Who are you?" Ijeoma asked. The reflection smiled. "I am the first river, the one your kind calls Nnenna, mother of the deep. You are my descendant, born of my blood and rebellion." The air thickened, the trees bent, even the moonlight dimmed. "You have united what should remain divided. Mortals were not meant to love the children of water. You have undone what the gods decreed. Now the worlds tremble." Ijeoma stood firm, though her knees quaked. "I did what the river taught me, to love, to heal, to understand. The gods decreed fear, but love is older than fear." Nnenna's voice rumbled like thunder. "Then let love save you from what comes next." With that, the sky broke open. Water rose into the air, forming massive columns that swirled around Ijeoma. The Serpent King emerged beside her, scales shining like sunlit oil. "Mother, stop," he pleaded. "She is not our enemy. She is our mistake, and you are her accomplice." A bolt of blue fire struck the Serpent King, flinging him into the deep. The river roared like 1,000 beasts. Ijeoma fell to her knees, her golden light flickering. Then something ancient awakened inside her. Her tears glowed brighter than the storm. The river's surface stilled. The lightning froze midair. "Mother," Ijeoma whispered, her voice echoing in every drop of rain. "You are the river, but I am its memory. I carry every drop that ever fell, every tear that ever touched the earth. You cannot destroy what you've already become." Ijeoma's reflection shuddered, then began to fade. You are not river nor flesh. You are something new." As her image dissolved into mist, a single tear of hers fell into the water, and wherever it touched, lilies bloomed. The storm ended, the sky cleared, and when the first dawn light broke, the villagers saw something miraculous. The river had split into 2 streams, one flowing toward the earth, the other shimmering upward into the air like a road of light. From that day, Umuoma never knew drought nor flood again. And Ijeoma, she became a legend, a living goddess who walked both paths, mortal and divine, uniting what had always been kept apart. Generations later, travelers still stop by Umuoma's river. They say, if you kneel and whisper your greatest pain to the water, a soft voice answers, not with words, but with peace. Some call her the river that remembered, others, the bride between worlds. But the elders know her true name, Ijeoma, daughter of the Serpent bride, the one who ended a curse by becoming love itself. What a story! If you enjoyed this mysterious African folktale, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join our growing family of story lovers across Africa and beyond. Tap the like button if you believe in the magic of African storytelling, and share this video with your friends and family. Let them feel the chills too. We'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you think will happen next? Drop your comments below. Your ideas might inspire the next chapter. Stay tuned for more powerful African folktales filled with mystery, love, and ancient secrets that live forever in our stories. See you in the next episode.